Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here today with Otis and me. This story is starting to take a detour, and we're looking at things that I never even imagined that would be coming up in all of this craziness. And so today I'm giving a slight follow-up to the video that I did about Adria English, who came out with an allegation against Prince Harry. And I'm going to be addressing some of your questions in this video, and then also talking to you about, it looks like the king is looking to write Prince Harry out of his will. Yes, this is what is starting to be revealed and discussed. And that's what we're talking about today. Let's get into it. I wanted to just briefly talk to you about this video that I did with Adria English. I showed you part of the video that had her speaking about who she was with, and she said Prince Harry's name, and some of you believed it, some of you didn't, and I just want to give you a little bit of follow-up to what you have to look at when you watch someone make an allegation and you decide whether or not to believe it or not. Now, of course, we weren't there. We can't say for sure that we know that Prince Harry was definitely with this woman, and what this woman is saying, we can't say is 100% true. But there are some things that you can look at to gauge whether or not you find someone credible. Now, when she was speaking in other interviews, she's actually starting to speak out a lot about what has happened to her. And one of the things you have to understand is when you are a young person, and of course this girl was a young person during all of these things that had happened to her. She got into the adult film industry, and there's a lot of drugs involved when you are in this profession. Okay. I mean, I think almost you would have to be, because you're doing things that you more than likely don't want to do. It's a job for some people, and for some people it's a forced job. And the drugs help you get through very uncomfortable circumstances that you're involved in. And then these things take a toll on you. And so when I watched Adria English speak about the people that she was given out to, and she had this demeanor about her that some of you were saying that she looked completely out of it, that she didn't seem credible. She's like crawling around on this bed, and they're saying that she looked like she was high. Well, imagine having to talk about things that brought you trauma. Imagine having to finally get your truth out there for people to finally hear something that you have been holding inside of you for so long. But we're in this age of truth being revealed. And now there is this moment of vindication and courage suddenly is befallen on people that have had a lot of trauma, because they see other people coming out and speaking about it. And now that gives them the courage to also want to come out and speak, because we have to understand that there are other women that I've spoken about on here who have been through similar circumstances as the girl Adria English. And the one thing that gives you the courage to want to actually speak is when you hear someone else talking about something that happened to them, that it happened to you too. And then you're like, wow, someone's talking about something that happened to them, and that happened to me. And then you want to come out and you want to speak on it, and you feel like, yes. And I can imagine having to talk about it would give you a lot of anxiety. And the past drug use in itself could have done a lot of damage to your brain cells. I mean, the girl Adria English was talking about how she was given horse tranquilizers. We even heard of this in the Diddy lawsuit, horse tranquilizers being used, all kind of pills being taken along with alcohol. I mean, you are doing some serious damage. So I would expect a person that has gone through a lot of trauma to not sit and speak about something that happened to them in the very dignified way, as if, yes, I was sex trafficked and I was made to be a prostitute. And like, you're not going to get somebody who's going to sit there, speak about all these horrible things that happened to them and look like they're being presidential. I would expect a person who has had these experiences to probably be a little bit on the side of a drug-induced or having some side effect of having some kind of brain dysfunction, because, I mean, it just is the lifestyle. I would not expect that kind of person to be well-adjusted to what happened to them, is what I'm saying. But at the same time, we also have to understand that we don't want to also give credibility to someone who could be lying. That's not good. And so that's why when you listen to people speak and you hear about other circumstances that happen to other girls, you read about it in the lawsuit from Cassie with P. Diddy, and you start to piece together things that happened to this person that has also happened to other people, and you see similarities start to come together, and you just have to be able to judge whether or not a person can be credible. Now, some people, you can look at them, they're lying. That's a lie. I mean, you just know, okay? But that's why you talk about it, and that's why you have to understand the kind of person that has gone through this is not going to be so well adjusted to look like they are someone who's taken communication classes to learn how to speak about their trauma. It just doesn't happen that way. But you listen to it and you think also, is that likely to have happened? Is it plausible that Harry could have done something that was not, proud to have happened? I can imagine that because I've seen Harry in Vegas partying with like he's a madman and just cutting loose and getting himself caught in predicaments, having photos of himself taken, and in compromising situations that his family had to end up getting him bailed out of later. So yeah, it's plausible to me that he could have done something like this. Now, William, on the other hand, I could not see doing certain things because he just seems so well adjusted to what his future is going to hold for him as the future king of England that I would not imagine him doing something like this. But the spare, oh yes, I can imagine the spare doing something like this. And that's just something you're going to have to look in and make the decision on your own. But for me and for most of you, you thought she was credible. And I have to applaud you because, yeah, I believe she is credible. And we just have to wait and see. But it definitely falls in line with what we have been seeing. That's all I'm saying. It falls in line with that. All right. Now, I want to just quickly go to also the fact that we know that Harry is currently seeking this IPP status, internationally protected persons status that he is trying to get. And I just wanted to read for you what that is, what the IPP status is. So the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime defines an internationally protected person as someone who is entitled to special protection from any attack on their person, freedom, or dignity. Okay? And we all know that Harry is battling and trying to get this IPP status because it's going to afford him things that are going to keep him away from the underbelly of some shadiness that is happening. And that would do him a lot of good to have IPP status, and I can imagine him wanting to fight till the death to get IPP status because he, I believe, has some things that could really put him in a predicament. And I think that IPP status becomes then very important when you have something to hide. My opinion. Okay. With that said, it looks like King Charles is going to make a huge move against Prince Harry ahead of Christmas. So King Charles may get back at Prince Harry for his countless attacks against the royal family. King Charles is expected to make a huge move against Harry ahead of this year's Christmas celebration. Now, according to a new report, the monarch is being urged to cut the Duke of Sussex out of his will. If this happens, it could be the final nail in the coffin, ruling out any possibility of a royal reunion. Now, following Harry and his wife Meghan's series of public attacks on the royal family via their interviews, Netflix docuseries The Duke's Memoir, Spare, and the Royal Family, they may just hit back now. This report is published by Closer magazine, and they have suggested that senior members of the royal family, including Prince William and Queen Camilla, are pushing Charles to make the move. Yeah. There are consequences to your actions, Harry. And you do things that make people look at you like just lost your ever-loving mind. They're going to push to have these things done because you're not acting like a normal person. So you should not be still confined to normal circumstances. We're going to kick you to the curb because you acting like you done slid down the curb and bumped your head somewhere. So this rift is already wide, but cutting off Harry will likely be the final nail in the coffin for any kind of reconciliation, this insider has told the publication. Now, there's so much resentment and anger, and very few people are ready to forgive him for the damages he has done. Providing more information, this source also said that Charles wrote his will long ago, but certain family members and courtiers are strongly urging him to update the document so as not to include Harry. Because think about it. If Harry is still in this will and he gets, a lot of financial gain, that essentially is giving a lot of money to Meghan to do what she wants with. And we know that Meghan doesn't have the royal family's best interest at heart. And you're essentially funding Meghan in what she wants to do, considering she's not loyal to the royal family. So why would you want to give your earnings, your monetary gain from the passing of a parent, give that to someone who hates your family? Because if Harry's still aligning himself with Meghan as her husband, essentially you have put Meghan Markle in your will and said, okay, Meghan, we're going to reward you for all the negative things you have said about our family. And that just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to do that. Now, the royals hate the idea of Harry getting anything from the Windsors, and the feeling is it is time now to put it down on paper to reflect Harry's impact on the monarchy and the stress he has caused to his father. And so we can see that Harry has created a lot of circumstances that are not faring well for him. He's lost so much, and now it looks like he just may be written out of the will of his father. And I would say that's the best learning that could happen to someone like Harry, because you are really going to feel the effects of your stupidness. Now, of course, if he decides to leave Meghan, then that should be an addendum. You're cut out the will, but there is an exception. Should you no longer be married to Meghan Markle at the time of this will and its reading, you will now be entitled to your full inheritance. However, if you are still married to the woman, you will no longer be entitled to the inheritance that was once going to be yours before you lost your ever-loving mind and went completely crazy and did things that were completely atrocious to your family. However they write it in their proper British Queen's English kind of way, that's how it should be written. And that's what I believe. And I think these are the talks that make us look and say, yep, Harry, you are getting ready to feel the smackdown of the royal family, because I'm telling you, the things that are coming to you in that will from the royal family, you don't want to screw up on that one. I think, if anything, I hope that you have learned your lesson and you can say, well, this is the last straw. It's time to cut Meghan off because I've lost way too much now. It is time for me to get my senses back and get back in that will. And maybe this will be the final straw for Harry to snap out of it. Snap out of it, Harry. You done lost too much already. You're going to still keep losing? How much are you going to lose until you wake up from your stupidness? Come on now. Wake up. Wake up. That's what I say. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one. Ta-da!